Hello, welcome back to MFWoodShop. Today we're going to build this multifunctional benchtop tool cart. Comes equipped with a drawer, and what I'm using this for is a lathe and my Rage miter saw. So let's get building.
So I started off with mini 2x4s, and I ripped off the rounded factory edges, bringing the 2x4s down to 3 inches wide. Then I took it over to the miter saw and cross-cut all the pieces that I would need for this project. Using the stop block really makes short work of this task. You just set the stop block, butt your piece right up against it, and then repeat. So I got 10 30-inch boards, 4 27-inch boards, screws, glues, clamp, 4 13 3/4 boards, 4 leg assemblies, and screw gun and countersink bit installed in the drill. Now this first section, I put together the frame that goes on the bottom with glue and screws. All the joints in this project use glue and screws. This first frame, I just wanted to make sure everything was nice and square before I started to assemble it. The rest of it is going to be pieced together as I go. Now the leg assemblies, they go on each side, and then a filler piece right in the middle. This filler piece is glued with 3 screws just acting really as clamps. Pre-drill everything and then screw them in with 3-inch screws. The leg assemblies are made up of 2 2x4s, and you can really make these any length that you want. They just create the half lap joint that you need to create this project. Pieces that I'm putting in now are the same pieces that made up that frame that I just made. I'm just stick building this together now because it's a little easier to do it this way while everything is being pieced together. Again, more glue and screws to hold everything together. And then more filler piece. This also has glue spread on, and then the 3 screws to act as clamps so I can keep working. Now here at the bottom, I'm filling the bottom portion of this cart with 2x4s. This is mostly due to weight, so I can have more weight at the bottom of the cart versus just a piece of plywood. So I chose to put nails in instead of the screws. A little easier and a little bit faster, but you could simply put screws in as well. Now on one side of this cart, I put the 4-inch swiveling locking wheels. On the other side of the cart, I put hockey puck self-leveling feet. Now I'll put a link in the description where I found this. Ray Mauder made these a few years ago, and it was a really good idea, and I decided to give this a shot to see if I'm going to like it. So one side I got wheels, the other side I got the leveling feet. And it actually works really well. And if it's rocking a little bit, I just level it out. Now I'll just cut down the top. It's roughly about 37 inches by 16 inches. Now let's move on to the drawer for this build. I ripped down 1/2-inch plywood to 4-inch lengths, and then cross cut the appropriate size for my cart. And then the joint gets glued and staples. And then cut out the bottom, and that also gets glue and staples. Now this is a little trick that you might be interested in. This clamp can be reversed to spread instead of to clamp. Now this 1/2-inch plywood had a little bit of bow to it. I wanted to get that bow out of it so I could glue and staple the bottom onto the frame. So I just used that clamp to spread it open and then stapled it down. 16-inch drawer slides to finish off the drawer, and then I just put those in and then put the drawer in with a 1/4-inch spacer between the top and the drawer, and just held in with clamps while I put some screws in. Face frame is just a 3/4-inch piece of plywood, glued and screwed. Pre-drill the top and screw that down into the 2x4. Now this little piece here is for the miter saw that I'm going to primarily use this cart for. The cart is a little too short for a miter saw, for me anyway, so I needed to raise the miter saw up about 1.5 inches. So I just cobbled together a few pieces of scrap 3/4-inch plywood, and I'm bolting that down to the table. Within that piece I got T-nuts on the back side of that those scrap plywood, and I just put in the bolts into the T-nut to hold the saw in. Now the lathe, I want to use this for the lathe as well. I'm getting ready to take the lathe mobile, so I need a way to use the lathe where I'm going to be taking it. So I just put the lathe down and drilled some holes for the mounting, and then inserted T-nuts from the bottom, and then drove those T-nuts home with the actual bolt itself, so I can easily move the lathe off this cart when I'm ready. And the handle is just a couple quick brackets with some holes to hold a piece of conduit. I CA glued the pieces in place and clamped them down, just more or less to hold them until I can get some screws into the back of the bracket. And the drawer works very nicely. Now you can see the advantage of having 2 wheels and the leveling feet. I can pick up one end and move the cart wherever I need to. When I get to the location I need to, I can lock the wheels and be done.
Alright, so that wraps this project up. I think it turned out quite well. I got 2 locking caster wheels on one side and 2 leveling feet made out of hockey pucks on the other side. I'll put a link in the description below where I got the idea for the hockey pucks. And then I built this for the lathe mostly, and I'm going to be taking the lathe mobile here in a week or so to Bob Blanford's house, and I just wanted a place to store my lathe while I was there. Once it gets back home, I'll put the lathe back in its normal spot and put the evolution saw back up here. This will also serve for that function as well. So a dual purpose, and you can use this for anything, you know, any benchtop tool or just an extra work surface. It is set kind of low, and I made it kind of low because I knew the lathe was going to go on here. That's why I had to raise the height of the Evolution saw about 1.5 inches. Other than that, you can make this as tall as you want or as short as you want and put whatever tool you want on here. It's nice and sturdy workbench, real similar to how I built the assembly bench, and yeah, I think it's going to work out pretty good. The drawer is about 16-inch depth and roughly about 28 inches wide, and the handle was just a scrap piece of conduit pipe that I had with a couple brackets. So yeah, that worked out pretty good. The idea with the 2x4 at the bottoms was just to add weight to the bottom of the cart. But certainly you could throw a piece of plywood down there. You don't have to fill it up with 2x4s. I just did that for weight reasons. So yeah, I think it's going to work out real well, and I'm glad I got it done. So that's all I got for you this week. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're interested in plans for this, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see if I can whip up some plans for you. So until next time, I'll see you later.